E18 of the See You in Valhalla podcast. I'm your host,
Yes.
Mitch from CrossFit Magni, and my co-host.
I'm that other guy, Jeff. Has it been 18 episodes? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean
Dude,
that's what the running tally is right now.
what
So
what are we gonna do to celebrate like our 20th episode or something?
we just find like every benchmark we can.
Yeah,
Every five
yeah,
episodes
exactly.
is a benchmark.
If we don't
Um,
celebrate the successes and how on top of it most of us in this podcast have been, then what are we doing
at
it
least
for?
50%.
Yeah, at least 50% of us are here every single week.
Um, yeah, I mean I don't have anything. I think part of the reason we're doing this is just to gain some experience in it, and then to leverage said experience into actual I guess deeper endeavors later. But for now, it really is just like exposure. I like that we're doing it live too, because any mistakes made are kept,
Mhm.
which I think is kind of important to some sources of media, is to not always be like so polished. So yeah, that's kind of my
Scripted.
just
Um,
practice.
and, and for myself, I take it as like a personal one-on-one fitness meeting every single week.
Keeps you
So
motivated, right?
yeah, exactly. Because I can't not show up to the gym now because you'd be like, dude,
Believe it
where
or
are you
not,
at?
that was in my head when I chose you. Was like, it'll probably make
Yeah,
him like really consistent.
dude. And look what it's done.
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's crazy.
I mean, what Jeff is alluding to is he just showed me some before and afters that he has. I don't know if he can bring him up or not, but
Mm,
it's an
that's-
impressive before and after, I would say. Good transformation,
Would you
and
like
he
that,
likes to credit the programming, but I
bro? The
really
programming.
the programming. I truly believe it's something like that is all credit to more the consistency side of it, which Jeff has been much more consistent in the past few months than maybe the few months leading up to that. So
Yes,
that's where changes are made.
multiple years. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. And then it says, "What's that? Your biggest growth is made when you're really uncomfortable." Am I right?
I
I
mean,
got
I
to
guess, yeah.
go up. Yeah, maybe. Hold on. Scroll all the way to the top here.
Well,
Where?
while he's pulling that up,
Yeah,
today's
yeah. Go
episode
ahead.
main topic is going to be talking about the, I think it's the fifth component of fitness, or fifth adaptation to fitness, which is speed, which will have a lot of similarities to, or like reasons for training will be similar to strength and power. So very similar to some of the stuff we've already talked about in the last 2 weeks. So some of it may sound like a refresher, but approached very differently. And I would say it feels very different too.
Speed.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear more about speed.
Not the drug,
Um,
but the
yeah, I was gonna make that joke.
adaptation of fitness.
Look, you're rubbing off on me as far as fitness excellence, and I am rubbing off on you as in inappropriate jokes to make.
uh,
Oh man. Um, I'll still like half work on this. It's not showing up in my Google Photos, but oh, I actually have an idea. Go ahead and get started on speed, and then I'll pull it up.
okay, well, defining speed is going to be the ability to minimize the time cycle of a repeated movement. So it's really talking, it's putting a premium on, you could say, like repetition. But I also think that word cycle is even more important to focus on, because I think it should be something that cycles well into the next repetition over and over and over again. So when I think of speed, I really think about running a lot, because it does that. Whereas like even rowing, because there's this defining endpoint that you have to then transition back forward, I think less of speed there. So like cycling and running, I think, are two places to train speed a lot more intentionally than some other things. However, I think you could still emphasize speed in rowing, emphasize speed in air squats or whatever kind of squats you want, or deadlift even. You could emphasize speed in a lot of places. but if I had to parcel off, like if we were doing deadlift, let's say, and we talked about you could deadlift for strength, you could deadlift for power, and you could deadlift for speed. Oh, hey, there it is. Look at those. That's pretty good before and after. Like significantly tanner in one too.
Dude, I think it's just the blood that was rushing to my skin, honestly. I
That's sick
couldn't.
though. Is
Yeah,
that after
man,
today or something?
yeah, that's why I said I think I can cut it a little bit
Okay.
to JT. So it's
Yeah.
fucking like I couldn't put my arms down. I can't
Yeah.
put my arm down.
For those just listening, we did the workout JT today, which is 21, 15, 9 handstand push-ups, ring dips, and push-ups. And man, that's one of the. It's actually the first hero workout ever. And it's
I didn't know that. It's pretty sweet.
it's probably one of the most redundant redundant movement schemes in all of CrossFit, where it's like press, press, press. Like that's it. That's the whole workout. 3 different presses. Do it for time. You end up with, close to 150 reps of volume there.
Dude, I came in big confident vibes going in there, and I was ready for the push-ups to have like a little bit of break from the dips. And I hit 3 and hit failure. I was like, oh
Dude,
my
it was
God.
gnarly. I couldn't, yeah, I was not like, I knew the workout, like accumulated effects were real. And I knew that workout was really like a grindy one where you're doing like, 2 reps at a time at some point for most people. But I was not expecting the push up on the first round to be as hard as it was.
Yeah.
Like I broke it up 9-7-5 in that first round to hit 21. And it was a grind to get to 9. And so then my rest gap got a little bigger there too.
Yeah.
Just crazy. Wasn't expecting that. But yeah, big
Yeah.
swell.
I turned the corner because I was doing the dips over there, like by the barbells, and
Mm.
turned the corner. I was like, oh, hell yeah, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm fucking smoking this workout. And, and then it all fell apart. Like 20 seconds left before the time cap. You would have stopped me from working out. It was humbling for sure. I probably still would have tried to finish it, but it was like scale everything,
Mhm.
scaled AF on that one. Just whatever. Just get
Well,
through it.
I really enjoyed the workout though. I thought I did not need to scale anything, but I feel like what was the appropriate stimulus there. I did it in less than 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
honestly, the handstand push-ups felt like rest, which I was not anticipating. I was expecting those to start feeling really hard. And instead
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I could actually take bigger sets here. And
Yeah. Nice.
I think it's largely because of the kip to them, but
Yeah. My kip
yeah, felt
failed
good.
hard. You cool if I get rid of this picture?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, thanks.
Uh,
Get out of here.
okay, so we were talking about speed, right? So you could train speed in the deadlift, just like you could train power in the deadlift, and just like you could train strength in the deadlift. So if we had to just make like same movement but separate how to get the intended stimulus of each of those, a strength deadlift is going to be where we don't care how fast it is lifted. We care really how much mass we can lift while holding good form, of course, so that it's actually the hip hinge movement that we want. And so that one typically is going to be done in sets of 1 to 5 reps, but they're grinding, like they're hard reps. Like just overall load is just slowing you down because it's so hard to lift. Power is going to be putting an emphasis on speed, specifically, damn it, specifically on the way up. So think about lowering the deadlift to the floor and then rapidly moving yourself up to the top position. And with those deadlifts where we're trying to train power, we're typically at a percentage that's like maybe 40 to 60% of our 1 rep max, let's say, so that we
Mhm.
can really emphasize that speed element on the barbell, right? Now, whereas we get to speed, the actual adaptation, now we're looking at down and up as fast as possible. So looking at doing like more reps in less time. And typically this is going to be done at below 40% of your max. And you're typically going to see higher reps. This would be the only one where maybe the reps go up to like something where you're more worried about how much time you've done it for than you are how many reps, right?
So I got a
So
question. So when like in the past you've done some workouts where it's like you say typically maybe it's like a hang power clean or hang clean, and you're like, normally we want like really good form, but then say on this one, it's just like, just do it, just lift it and get it over with. So is that like across the board typically when you were saying as many reps as possible in like a set amount of time? Do you just like throw your like your form to the wind and just like get it done, or what?
No, it's all of them require good form. Now, what you're referring to is when we're Olympic lifting and we're doing
Mhm.
barbell cycling. I like
Yeah.
to almost consider that a completely different movement than the actual Olympic lift itself, just
Oh, okay.
because you're going to set up a little bit differently. Because you're all trying to in an Olympic lifting, you're trying to optimize lifting it one time. That's it, right? Whereas when we're doing barbell cycling and stuff like that, now we are more emphasized on speed. And so different hip positions will
Mhm.
help us emphasize that speed because of the way that barbell is lifted. Now, that's a unique scenario. If it's the deadlift, no, the form's the same for all three. Like we're not throwing technique out the door. We're
Yeah.
doing a technique differently when we're cycling a barbell. So my example in that is like when you do a 1 rep max clean, your hip and knee are typically in the setup position at about the same height. But when you're doing barbell cycling, you
Mhm.
actually have your hip higher than your knee when you go from the floor because you're
Okay.
just trying to touch and bring it back up every time.
Go.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little different, and that's because it's a lighter weight. We're not too worried about it getting away from us. And if we really
Mhm.
lifted it the way that you would lift a 1 rep max, you would just use so much muscle that you would gas yourself really quickly. Like the demand on the heart rate would go up so much, like things
Yeah.
like that. Whereas it's not unsafe to have a higher hip and just kind of like do a deadlifting clean versus like
Right. Pull
a
some.
true normal clean, right?
Nah, I gotcha.
Um, so yeah, we're not breaking out of what's safe versus unsafe there. And if we're talking about a more simple movement like the deadlift or the squat, they're identical. So you don't change form at all.
Oh, I was like, wait a second, they're identical, but
No, like identical to each other, like whether
yeah,
it's strength, power, or speed,
it just
they're
took me a
identical
second.
in
I caught up.
form.
I caught up.
Yeah, the Olympic lifts are just a little bit of a unique scenario, I would say. But yeah, so I really think like speed is all about emphasizing um, like decreasing the gap between completed reps, right? So if you do a normal squat and you stand at the top and pause for a second, or you control all the way down for like 2 seconds to
Mhm.
really mechanically load your tension and your muscle, um, then that won't be speed training, right? Because there's too big of a gap between reps, or your descent is slowed down. Whereas speed training is all about fast up and down. It doesn't mean we break good form, but it does mean the tension is very different, which is why the weight's even lower in speed training.
I gotcha. Are you gonna teach us how to run more efficiently with speed talk today?
Um, I like to think that running is the pinnacle of speed. Like if we're gonna talk speed, running should be the primary focus of that. Um, I
Hell yeah!
knew this was gonna happen.
What happened?
I'm using her
Oh, hey,
water
Catherine.
bottle to light
Oh,
to stand the light up, and now she
oh
needs
yeah,
her water bottle.
unbelievable.
So
That's so
yeah,
selfish.
it is selfish of her. Yes, she said something about hydration. I'm not sure.
I know all
Oh,
about hydration.
yeah, she thought you would appreciate that she's trying to stay hydrated, but I don't think that's
And
real.
as no, as I was taking her, it's because she watched the reel from the other thing. So it's taking a drink.
It
Stay
was,
hydrated. Nice job,
uh,
Catherine.
wait, was that from your other podcast? Is that what she said?
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, I
She was
haven't
just
listened to
making
that
fun
yet.
of me on it because I've got like all my drinks and stuff that I sit over here. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Yeah.
oh,
So
Sam
I
was
get it.
making fun of you?
Yeah.
Uh,
Hydration.
I have my morning concoction and my evening concoction here.
Yeah. And my speedball.
Okay, back to speed.
Back to
Um,
running.
so
Or was it running?
here's what I like about speed training. Like, so running, yes, I think a lot of times people only train running for distance, and then that totally pulverizes their speed, which then also probably hurts their technique long term, right? So that's where you get a lot of heel striking, and a lot of just time under tension in the run, where it's almost like you could almost do that version of the run in the Olympics for power walking because you have one foot in the ground at all
Yeah.
times, right? Um, so I think when you train speed, you're obviously emphasizing speed, which means you're going to take that distance way down to emphasize speed. But now all of a sudden form cleans up because naturally we're finding more efficient ways to be fast. And it's about turnover time. You don't have time to be in the wrong position, right? Like it fixes a lot of problems when you actually go fast on a run.
I hear you, but like, what if you just feel like you can't go fast on a run? Because honestly, it's like I was like, I think I should just wake up in the morning and just like run every day because I feel like I'm so terrible at it. And like I know that my heel is striking and I know that I'm inefficient and I'm just like slow and I get gassed like really fast. So I got to be doing something completely wrong. And I don't want to turn this into just like, let's make Jeff a faster runner type of an episode. But like, sorry, I changed that because I was looking off to the other side. But like, aside from the speed training, maybe just like ladder drills and stuff like that whole thing. But like, how do you get faster at it?
You have to pick distances that are actually, going to accommodate what skill level you're at. So like, let's say you start with like a 50-yard dash or 40-yard dash
Mhm.
for the sake of like most people have trained that probably a little bit.
Yeah,
That's a very, very short distance. Like when you're talking about running for speed
yeah.
and you're resting enough time to be fast every single time, right? Let's say you start at 40 yards and then you start expanding it distance wise. Now your speed may come down, but your mechanics, as long as you're taking bites out of that at appropriate segments, your
Hmm.
mechanics will continue to adapt to whatever speed you're holding, right? And eventually you're just kind of like, you're starting with fast running and you're kind of dissecting it into slower running, but you're maintaining those mechanics because now your strength and speed are there for it. Oftentimes, we're just trying to run for long distances more than we should, more
Yeah,
than we're prepared for. We over, I guess we underestimate the effect that running has on us. It's a full body movement. It's extremely taxing because you're looking at one leg driving more than your body weight every single rep.
yeah.
And right. And so think about, can you do um, like a pistol, right? And if you can't do a pistol, well, I know that that's on one leg and that's your body weight to control down and back up. Running has a microdose of that, but it's actually more than your body weight.
Running is more than your body weight because you have to like accelerate it
Yes,
forward.
because of how much force
That
you're
makes
putting
sense.
on it, right? So I think, and you might try to pull it up or something, but I believe they measured, they have these like things that measure like force output. And I think they measured like Usain Bolt hitting like a 4x body weight with his foot strike.
Whoa,
So that means he's sprinting and it's 4 times his body weight on one leg. Like, just stand with
whoa.
4 times your body weight on one leg and then you'll be struggling.
150-pound runner. This means that each heel strike will generate approximately 600 pounds of pressure over a 5-mile run. That's what it says.
Well, that's
And then
over
that adds up to
given
over
distance.
13 tons of pressure.
Okay,
And
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Damn.
significant, right? It's significant. So that's something that people don't understand about running in the first place, is that is actually a very high skilled movement. And if you stop doing it because it's so much speed involved there, it's the first thing to go. So it's something we've been talking about when we're talking about longevity over these last few weeks on this podcast, has been like, we need fast twitch fibers and we need to train to maintain fast twitch fibers over time, because as we age, those are the first ones to go. And your proof is that you used to be able to run effortlessly as a kid and you became an adult. And where in the gap did that happen? It was when you stopped running fast, when you stopped playing your sport typically. That's when that
We got to get back
became
into a soccer
shitty.
league. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
No, I mean, playing a sport can be a little different because it depends. Like when we're playing that indoor soccer league, uh, the field is so small, you don't ever actually get to a full on sprint at any given
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But something that I'm being a little more conscious of now that I'm taking over the programming again is putting in time for us to actually work on that. right? Like, let's actually hit some sprints, right? If
Yeah.
the volume's low, like we have a workout in a couple weeks that only has a mile run in it total. So it's like, I'm going to have us run some sprints before that,
Yeah.
right? So that we can learn how to run more efficiently, right? And then when you do go running longer distances than you're prepared for, you run walk, where you actually run, then you walk. Now, the average will be about the same as your little ranger shuffle that you typically do when you're tired, right? And the ranger shuffle, for those that don't know, is where you barely cover any ground and there's a lot of time under tension.
You're talking about with
Do I
your
have
stride?
one? Can you check in the printer? What's up?
Are you talking about with your stride? You don't cover as much ground with your stride, so it's like shorter
When you do
steps?
a ranger shuffle, yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
really short
Oh,
shuffle step. And the
when
reason
they're
they
in
call it that is
either.
because you're typically doing that when you're doing ruck marches. So in
Mhm.
the military, you would do a ruck march for time. So you're actually measured how fast you can ruck march. So most guys, I need to fix this problem. Most guys will ranger shuffle their ruck march. So they're going a little faster than walking. But in order to do that with all that weight on them, they can't have solid running mechanics. So now it's just
Yeah.
this like shuffle. And that's what most people are actually running like, right? And you can always kind of see that because their feet will barely leave the ground. Whereas if you see someone sprint, their foot is damn near hitting their butt.
Yeah. I guess so. Would you say that like when you're running, and maybe we're taking up too much time with this running thing, but is it like what percentage is it strength versus like technique?
Um, that's a great question. If you had to put a percent to it, I don't know if I really could. So I think if you're not strong enough, you won't have the technique, period.
Okay. So one
So
and
I
the
think
other.
strength is kind of like your prerequisite to it. Now, that being said, I think most people can access running correctly when taught correctly, but also going fast enough. Like, it's the biggest issue that I see is just we're not going fast enough. Google a couple things for me
Yeah.
and pull
Okay.
it up. Google the average cadence of a competitive marathon runner.
Yeah. Got it.
What did it come up with?
Hold on. I don't want to read all that, but give me something good. No, I don't want
Ooh,
to.
some ads. Should we get into some
Yeah.
ads?
Yeah. Really good. Okay. There's no one size fits all. Come on, give me 180. Is that 180 steps per minute?
Yeah.
Elite runners have Acadia's SPM. Yeah, I'm assuming that. And some as much as 200 steps per minute. So I just have to keep up with my heart rate, is what you're saying.
um, kind of, yes. But then look at that. Think about that. That's 90 times every minute. Each foot will hit the ground. Each
Wow.
foot will hit the ground 90 times in a minute. So that's 90 repetitions in a minute. This is why I'm saying people underestimate the power of running as far as like how much of an overall effect is when you actually run. Now, when you're ranger shuffling, you're more like 60 per foot, significantly less, but it actually wears on you more in some ways because you're spending so much time on the ground. So your eccentric load is higher
Okay, so are you saying that I will be a better runner if I just run faster and I take more steps?
at a higher cadence,
Oh, okay. So it's
right?
shorter
That
strides?
it could be shorter strides. It could be a higher degree of falling, is what they say. So like, think about if your body's like this,
Hmm.
perfectly upright, you're not going anywhere.
That's
That's
how
like
I
running
feel.
in place, right?
That's me.
If you lean and move your legs underneath you, gravity will naturally start pulling you. Now, if you lean more, it's going to pull you even more because you're just trying to resist falling and the
Yeah.
forces of falling. Now, that's what efficient running looks like, is really efficiently falling, right? Um, because if you run the way that a lot of people try to teach running, which is like powerful jumps, we don't
Hmm.
want to clear objects. You know what I mean? Like that would be inefficient. If we're clearing the ground by a foot every stride, we have a lot of vertical force happening, which is going to take away from the amount of horizontal potential, right? So, you know, watching runners, their foot might leave the ground that much because it's behind them or under them, whatever you want to look at it, and their heel almost hits them, but their other foot is on the ground. And then at any given point, you know, the average is your feet are really close to the ground the whole time, right? You don't want to see one foot here and the other foot here, like 1 foot off the ground. That's jumping. So anyway, that's that cadence of 90 steps per foot per minute or 180 beats per minute. Put a metronome on for 180. Can we get a metronome on here? We're at 180 beats per minute.
Yeah, heck yeah. Do we want 180? Oh man, it's like turning colors. It's like, that's too fast. That's too fast. Okay, let's see if it plays. Can you hear it?
No.
I definitely can. Let me see if I can turn this up. Here, I'll do it.
Oh, you're just matching it?
Yeah. Can you hear that?
Yeah. So just listen to that for like 10 more seconds. Now imagine that's every single foot strike. How often are you running with your feet moving that fast? You know what I mean? Like almost never. And that's because your heart rate would explode if you ran 400 meters that way right now. But if you start with 100 meters of just nailing that cadence, forget about how fast it was time-wise, forget about other things. Like you can go a couple different ways with this. You could just run as fast as possible and work on understanding those mechanics by just feeling and then trying to repeat them at slower or at longer durations, which is going to slow you down. Or you can nail that cadence, whether it's 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters, etc. Right? So if you really want to train the 90 beats per minute or the 180 beats per minute cadence and get to a better mile using that, what you would probably do is do 100 meters at first, but then rest minimally. So it's like run 100 meters, rest 15 seconds, run 100 meters, rest 15 seconds. I really don't want to watch these ads.
I don't know how to get out of watching the ads. I can mute it, I think. It was the world's fastest marathon runner, and then the idol came on. Did you want to see him? His stride looks crazy.
Yeah, we can look at it.
5 seconds of this guy.
He's brainwashed her. I have to tell you something.
What a marathon! Look how high his heel leaves the ground. Look at that.
Hey guys, it's JP.
I don't want to listen to it, but I will watch you.
Right, so knee comes up, heel comes up. And that's something I like to emphasize for people because most people, exactly, nobody's running like that when they're running. Now you could use the excuse, yeah, but he trains. Yeah, of course that is an excuse, but he's also running 26 miles like that.
Yeah,
and just run 400 meters like that first. Look at that. Heel almost hits the butt every time. And he's not consciously almost hitting his butt. That's just natural mechanics when you're running fast enough for you to be efficient. You could also look at the strike there. Look at the foot strike. Did you see it?
Yeah, so how does he keep his heel from hitting the ground to put the brakes on?
Because he's falling the whole time. He's got the exact lean that he needs to just constantly fall at the right tempo.
Unreal.
Which is a good amount of body awareness. It's a good amount of core focus there too.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
I
mean, I'll never run that fast for that long.
No, not with that attitude.
I could maybe do 400 meter that fast.
That would be interesting to see. Can you keep up?
A 4:34 pace. So if you divide that by 4, that's a 1. What is that? A 1:06 400?
Wait, what are you saying? 4:34?
4:34 mile pace. That was his 26.
Oh, is that what that was?
Pace.
Did you just?
Yeah.
Did you just?
Run that it showed it. It showed it on the screen.
Oh, okay.
4:34 pace. Right. So first off, just imagine running a 4:34 mile. I can't do it. I already know I can't do it. Right. That guy did it 26 times nonstop.
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, when you compare to elites, it's like insane. That's not speed training, what he's doing. That's cardiovascular endurance training, right?
Stupid.
But I think speed is
Awesome.
a good way to unlock the ability to run well and long and better and things like that. But going back to it, why would we want to train speed? It's really to maintain the fast twitch muscle fibers as far as like for longevity. All right.
Mhm.
It's a very potent dose of exercise. So you don't have to, it won't take you very long to accumulate the effects, right? Speed training takes probably, depending on how you're structuring it, it could take anywhere from, 3 minutes of total work to 10 minutes of total work, and you'd be done, right?
Simple.
Yeah, it's not going to take all day. You could make a workout last 30 minutes of speed training because your rest period is so long,
Mhm.
right? Because in order to actually be fast, you need enough rest. That's a huge mistake people make because they're just not resting long enough to actually be fast.
Yeah, and then so we can move on, but I have one last like clarifying question because this is something that I actually want to work on, and this is for me. This is a Jeff time. What you were saying that if I want to get better at running, I need to pick a 40 or a 50 and do the 180 steps per minute, right? And
Yeah.
then keep stretching
Do
that out
intervals
further and
at
further
that.
and further.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like
All
week
right.
1, you do 2 workouts. One's 40 yards and one's 100 yards. The 40 yard has a 10-second rest interval, and you see how long you can maintain that for,
Okay.
right? At the cadence that's appropriate. Session 2 would have a longer run, but a longer rest too. So maybe do 100 meters, rest 30 seconds, something like
Okay.
that.
And then do it again
And
to see how long I can do it.
yeah. And then again, you're just accumulating a lot of volume there at that cadence so that cadence starts feeling more natural.
Yeah.
The hardest part about running at that cadence is you kind of do want to wear headphones and find either a metronome app. There are a lot of playlists that you could find at 180 beats per minute.
And that's just when like the beat just like hits at like 180.
Yeah, you'll know if you went to Spotify right now and looked one up. It would be here. Maybe I could find one on my Spotify really quick.
Same Zeus.
180 BPM. Like a whole workout makes that 180 beats per minute. Hold on. Oh, it's not working because it's.
Oh, Bulls on Parade Till I Collapse into Club. This is a fire mix right now. Why don't we put this on at the gym?
Hey, can you still hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. I just
Yeah.
disconnected the phone. I know in the past that's fucked everything up. So
Yeah, no. Ba with the Ba by Kid Rock. We gotta be looking at the same thing.
not 180 beats. That. Right.
That's the thing. That's crazy.
But,
All right, sweet. Well, yeah, that's good. That's good to know.
Yeah. So I think now again, that's what elite runners are running at. But again, if you want to run more efficiently, I think cadence plays a ginormous role in that. But again, back to speed. Running, I think, is the most efficient and effective place to train speed. Now, in CrossFit, we could have some fun with that, right? I find when you're training speed in CrossFit, it's usually in a partner workout where it's like your partner's going to do 5 reps, then you're going to do 5 reps. Let's call it burpee box jump overs, right?
Okay.
You're seeing how fast you can hit 5 burpee box jump overs because you're kind of always fresh enough to do that. That could be the speed training in CrossFit, right? Which is how fast you can repeat the cycle of a movement. Now, again, if we're going to be really reaching into peaks of speed, running and cycling is probably the only two. I mean, running, cycling, and maybe some sled work are about the only places that you could really, really, really work on that stuff. But if you're talking, expanding on that a little bit, softening the edges, so to speak, you can train speed in CrossFit by choosing rep ranges and movement combos that you can hit real as just push yourself as fast as you can and then rest.
Doesn't matter, I guess. the amount of time you're working on it doesn't matter. It's just how long you can actually keep up like going really, really fast. Like then when you feel yourself start to like fall off, you just like you stop and rest and see if you
Yeah.
can like
S-
repeat
I
that.
mean, speed in that case is definitely relative to your abilities in the first
Yeah.
place. So I think of movements like Toto bar, where like when I'm trying to breathe and like relax, they're a long movement for me. They're like 2
Mhm.
seconds a rep. But I can also work on pulling my feet down faster so they hit the spot faster and faster and faster. And then now I'm shaving those in half, but the
Yeah.
cost is my heart rate typically. Because I
Yeah.
usually have to either hold my breath a little bit or it just takes more effort on both ends of the movement, right?
Throws everything off kilter.
Yeah, and that's how you challenge things a little bit sometimes is you actually emphasize the speed of movement. So like when you're dissecting a workout and you're like, that's weird, this workout's easy, try to go faster. Right?
Do it quicker.
Yeah, think of that row sit-up workout we did not too long ago. That workout was pretty
Oh yeah,
damn
yeah, yeah.
simple, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, do your sit-ups even faster. Pull yourself back down to the ground instead of letting gravity do it. Changes the game completely.
Dude, and that's the one I did on the ski erg, I think.
Oh yeah, a little redundancy
That's-
there. That
it's,
you wouldn't be able to approach with that.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to, but
Yeah.
it was a lot of core. It was a lot of core for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I think
Oh shit, that reminds me, I forgot to put in the notes that I was on the ski erg because everybody was like, "Damn, you were flying." Yeah, I was. Don't ask questions.
yeah,
Oh,
you gotta flex on them when you
embarrassing.
can, you know.
I know, right? That's right. It was a big class.
But yeah, so that's kind of really, I mean, there isn't to me like a whole lot of rabbit hole to go down. It's very simple when you think about it. Just go faster. Right?
So can we work on like our fast twitch muscles and get better at running if we did like ladder drills? Does that help anything?
Kind of like agility ladder.
Yeah.
I think that works on foot speed specifically. So it's a speed, but it's the speed of kind of the lower legs more so than a speed up top. So yeah, it's kind of like isolating speed to a different area.
Okay.
That's all. So yeah, it would work on that, but if you're going to do speed on an agility ladder, you have to pick a drill on the agility ladder that you absolutely know how to do. So that coordination
so you're not
doesn't
messing it up.
prevent you from being
Yeah.
fast. Right. And so that's what when people show off agility ladder skills, they're typically ones that they've rehearsed a million times to the point
Yeah,
where
over and
speed
over
is
and over.
actually a thing.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're doing
makes
like
sense.
the icky shuffle for the first time ever, chances are your speed is horrendous. So you're not
Yeah.
really training speed there.
I've done the icky shuffle a lot, and I did really bad the other day when we were doing the icky shuffle on the ladders. It's like,
Dude, I felt bad at it too. I just clearly it had been too long since I
Yeah.
had done enough of those.
Yeah.
But
I was just gonna say, I think it was just a thought, but I really enjoyed the tumbling as well. It was just as like a side note. That
dude,
was kind of fun.
tumbling, I thought it was fun too. There's still a lot of people who had trouble executing that, but that's classic adults for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But man, I get so inspired. Have you watched? You probably taken Simon to this or something, but kids gymnastics.
Oh yeah. So both of them are in gymnastics.
Okay, and when you go there, you probably see some of the like 7, 8-year-old girls there
Doing muscle
doing
ups.
some crazy shit.
Yeah.
That like
Yeah.
you couldn't even fathom doing yourself, right? They are so good at training kids fundamentals before progressing them to the next level.
But like how? They're kids. I can't get my kids to pick up their socks, and they're teaching these kids how to like do back rolls into handstands. And then I'm like, dude, this is a small child.
Well, I also think like kids don't like to listen to their parents as much.
Yeah, that's true.
So you almost have to have the third party coach for
Step
a
in.
lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to coach your own children just because I don't think they're quite as bought in on it as they would be if it was someone else.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Simon's in ninjastics, which is a boy gymnastics, but they climb things and jump over it, like parkour type stuff.
Yeah.
And then Charlie's
make
in little tiny baby
more of a focus
gymnastics.
on fun.
Yeah. That's
But
fun.
no, I mean, we just went to our Coach Kyle's Cooper's birthday.
Oh yeah.
He's turning 4, and so they did it at this gymnastics place, and all these girls are practicing on the other side, and then we have the other half of the gym or whatever to just goof off with these little 4 and 3-year-olds that are just doing whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh man, their hollow positions, everything they do is so
Their pointy toes.
clean, right? Like they're pointing their toes, they're being rigid with their hollow, which is like how I can barely get adults to be rigid for a push-up, and they're like falling from a backflip into a plank position hollow immediately. Like there's no sagging. And it's like I can barely get adults to do a burpee where they just go into the plank position and hold.
Yeah.
When they're just like, I mean, the excellence that they show is, I mean,
it's pretty crazy.
It's unmatched. But something it's really inspiring, and so I've been trying to just wind like things back where it's like, okay, look, we have a workout of the day, and if it's simple enough, then we'll work on some fundamental skills and drills that we oftentimes don't get, like agility ladder, like tumbling, just things like that, like things we don't get really afford ourselves the time to because we're so focused on toe to bar, dumbbell clean and jerks, you know what I mean? Like you name it. It's like, let's not focus so much on what CrossFit has made a sport, and let's focus on like what movement demands of us, which if you don't know how to tumble, you don't know how to fall without hurting yourself.
Yeah. Saving lives. I like the progression stuff that you had today too with the handstand stuff, because I was like, all right, I'm going to do the handstand push-ups, so I got to do this. I was like, this is pretty difficult when I was like trying to suck my stomach up and laying on the ground.
Yeah.
I was like, how many times is he going to make me do this? And the bend over thing, it's like, dude, I'm burning here, man.
The side bends. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
You could make a lot of people just don't understand how much a simple movement can be made very potent. Like
when your intention is correct.
Yes. Yeah.
I learned that from you.
It's like nobody wants to do side bends for 400 reps to get the effect when you could just do 40 reps, slow, controlled into the deepest range possible and get the same effect in less time.
Still sweating.
And probably more effort, really.
Yeah.
Probably get better effect.
Yeah. Man. I threw you off track. So
I was going to switch gears completely. So I think we've honestly, speed is so simple. It's move faster, right? Like, so, and it's important. If you don't think it's important, look at every old person not moving fast. That's where you're headed if you don't train it, right? Now it doesn't mean that like they're wrong or they did something wrong necessarily. Like eventually we're all going to be moving slow.
Yep.
So the goal is, fast is relative to what work abilities are. And it's like, the goal is let's maintain it as we age so that we're not in a position where we wish we had it and it's going to be impossible to regain or something like that. Right. It's the entire fitness thing is all about doing these things now before we're in a position where it's like, I wish I had done these things.
Yep. Saving yourself from that one catastrophic event.
Which is going to happen. It's inevitable. Everybody will have an event where they wish they had the better fitness. So I would rather headlong into those events by training ahead of time for them. And then I'm faced with things like CrossFit competitions that are like, oh my gosh, I wish I had trained that better. Like that's my worst case. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah. I'm terrified about the CrossFit competition coming up. Brian freaking forced me to get into RX, and that's a whole nother show.
So we just did some programming, a little bit of programming today, and we wrote down all those workouts. And
oh, nice.
We wrote down all the individual workouts, which it looks like the team ones are just kind of variations of them.
Yeah.
So we wrote all those down, and we're trying to make sure we get touches on everything pretty regularly. And oftentimes, because it's CrossFit, we're hitting a lot of that stuff. So it's just putting a little more emphasis. It won't take effect for another couple weeks probably, but
yeah, nice.
We made a really fun workout. It's teams of 3, and you're going to we haven't worked out all the details yet, but basically 2 people will be working on box get-overs, 48 inches for men and 40 for women. So just getting over the box, or burpee box
48
get-overs.
inches? Is that like that's like 4 feet tall?
Yeah, so you have to actually climb over the box,
Oh,
not
okay.
jump over
I
it.
thought you messed up on the height. I was like, dude, we don't have a 48-inch box.
No, it's get-overs, not jump-overs. Yeah, so
Oh,
you
okay.
literally are going to strap 2 boxes stacked, so they're really tall.
Okay.
So anyway,
gotcha.
you and your partner will be, I think it's burpee box get-overs. We'll be doing that, and then the third person will be doing a 200-meter sandbag carry. And when that person comes in, they tap someone else in, and the goal is hit X amount of reps of the burpee box get-overs, and each person has done the 200-meter sandbag carry. And then we're going to start a clock for the next portion, which is going to be an AMRAP of sandbag get-overs, where you have to pick the bag off the ground, throw it over the box, and then follow it over the box.
That'll be fun.
So that should be fun.
Yeah, nice.
Really fun workout. Got to work out the kinks, so we're going to test some things on it and then send that out after that. But that's a couple weeks out still.
Nice. If you need a third, I can. I'll be your third wheel.
A third tester, yeah, we could try. We could try to shoot for something. I was gonna say some highlights. So like this week we hit a couple benchmarks. We got snatch and clean and jerk, or snatch and clean, not the clean and jerk. And I saw quite a few PRs in the gym. It was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I always say this, like no program will get 100% PRs across the board because everybody's so different and what they need is so different. But it was still really cool to see. I saw Katie.
Yep, both of them.
New 1 rep max snatch and new 1 rep max clean, 140 for the snatch, right?
Yep.
Andrew Harding almost got to that 200 number for this snatch.
It's pretty sweet.
Cool. Brian got 185, which is right at his threshold of capacity there. It's pretty good for him. Got a couple people hit 155. Oh, including you. But that's not a PR.
Hilarious.
Is it?
Dude, no, it's not. Thank you very much. It's a rough day for me.
McKenna got a 5-pound PR, 125.
And we're on snatch right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I saw some great numbers there.
Didn't Haley? I see that.
I think Haley got, I'm not sure what her PR total was there, but it was like 2 pounds or something.
Yeah, nice.
And then clean, Andrew again, you 235.
Oh yeah, dude. So
ready to cycle that 185?
Yeah. Brian and I were talking about that the other day. We're like, are we gonna like actually cycle it, or are we gonna drop that thing? Because in my mind, I'm dropping it, but it's because I've never tried to like cycle 185. So we'll see what happens. But the fact that we're even talking about this, so the last gym I was at, I remember. I mean, so it was a while ago, right before we started with you. But I couldn't. I could get up 175 on a clean, but I couldn't do 185. So I was very happy that I got to 235. It's like, dude.
Yeah. I feel like when you get past the 2 wheels, you know, or even just the 2 wheels, it's like some big boy moves, you know.
Yeah.
Fun. Yeah, see lots of cool PRs here. So that's been cool. And then we did Helen the day after. So just talk about just classic CrossFit stuff, right? Hit a 1 rep max, then do Helen.
What was Helen again?
They all just 3 rounds, 400-meter run, 21 pull-ups, and 21 kettlebell swings, 12 pull-ups. It's pretty decent times there. It's Sharon Miller's birthday today.
Happy birthday, Sharon.
Then we did JT today, and then next week,
Murph.
We got Murph. Yeah, Murph always throws a wrench into the programming because it's like you're trying to allow people to recover from just how much volume that was. So we'll be on machines, I think, on Tuesday.
Yeah, right. So you've also skipped over a very important bit of news. We have a new member to the Iverson family, don't we?
The grill?
The grill. Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a grill. It's a good one. Is it a boy or a grill?
Is it a boy
yes,
or a girl?
I got my Father's Day present a little early because Father's Day is also on my anniversary. So, and it is a new charcoal gravity fed grill. And dude, so much. It's gonna be
Loves
so
it.
much fun. So much fun to
And you're
cook on.
bringing it for Murph, right? If you can pick it
That's
up.
the plan. That's the logistical nightmare is how to get that fucker into the bed of my truck because it's a little too
Yeah.
tall to fit under those racks I have.
You don't want to scratch it.
Yeah, and just getting it right now with how my yard is a mess from the renovation stuff. It's pretty tough to move.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. If I can get it there, it'll definitely be there.
Yeah. If for some reason you need it, I've got my Camp Chef thing that's just like we used it at the Open or whatever.
Yeah,
when
I
we
think
had-
so. Tom and Susan are actually like the ones who're supposed to lead all that. So I think they're
Yeah,
bringing
cool.
theirs.
Good.
So I'm kind of just planning on almost surprising them with mine, but I'll let them know if I end up getting it hooked up
Yeah,
the night
right on.
before or something.
They do such a good job.
Yeah. And if you haven't participated in Murph or you're considering it, don't hesitate. Like I get it. It's a hard workout. Don't overdo it. You could do a half Murph, things like that. You can modify those movements to something you definitely can repeat over and over and over again. But it's a great way to pay tribute and actually celebrate Memorial Day by memorializing somebody. Whereas most of the time, most of us are just like celebrating the day off of work.
Yeah.
And
Getting
the
drunk.
day was built to memorialize people. So
Yeah.
if you're not going to do that, Murph is a great way to practice that. And I think our culture needs more memorializing.
Yeah. What's the plan after Murph? So there's the barbecue. Did I
Barbecue
see
and then a pool party.
too?
Yeah.
Nice.
So Tom and Susan also throw a pool party most years with that too. So I don't know the details on that. That's probably one of those things where it's like, hey, we'll meet back over there around 2 or something like that. I don't know what time yet.
Nice.
So don't quote me on that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
We'll
the
just do it.
plan.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Well, I'm looking forward. I think this will be my first year doing a whole Murph by myself because I've always split it in the past with Katie. So
Oh, really? Yeah, I plan on doing it in full this time. Probably, maybe I'll go with Heat 2 or something. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. It's just gonna be I'm just gonna roll people out every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And usually the worst case scenario is we have so many people that they're sharing a barbell.
Yeah.
Or not a bar,
Yeah.
A pull-up bar.
Yeah.
And that's
pull-up bar.
fine. You need the rest.
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy to share my pull-up bar. Whoever would like to share with me, especially if you're slow with pull-ups and I have extra time.
Yeah, it's more about completion of work than it is,
Yeah.
being
Just get
crazy
to it.
about performance.
Grind, rise and grind.
Yeah, the mile run. I gotta maybe pick up some paint to mark off that mile turnaround point.
Oh yeah.
That'd
Well,
be really
isn't it
nice.
just that the culvert that runs across?
Yeah, it's what, that 4x4 that
Oh
runs
yeah,
across?
it's whatever cross.
Yeah.
But paint it. Put up a flag or something. I got an American flag.
I did one year. It was an American flag one year, and someone took it down before we even started.
No.
So yeah, that's why I'm
there's that.
heavily considering painting it so that it can't be just taken up right away. And I'm sure it's illegal, but
yeah, you get like a vandalization ticket or something like that.
Oh my gosh, speaking of illegal, this is silly. So we have health insurance through like some sort of like health insurance that's built for people who own their own stuff, right? Entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so Catherine just had that significant injury, and now they want more information about how it happened and where it happened, which means their clear intent is to then not have to help us pay for it, but to then go to another insurance company and have them get dinged. And they're talking about how it helps bring costs down. And it's like, bring costs down for who? You? Like, it only benefits them. And it's like, how much have we paid in? We've paid in easily as much as this thing is. So don't sit like, I think insurance is such a fucking scam in this country.
Dude,
like all types of insurance, such a fucking scam. That being said, I totally get like these catastrophic things. Like nobody can really survive a catastrophic injury with the way the medical system is without
Mhm.
insurance. But
Yeah.
it's like, fuck, man, I've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for car insurance and
Into
never
insurance.
once used it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they're going to hit you up about it when you actually need it.
Yeah, they're gonna be a
Criminal.
bitch about it as soon as it's like, come on,
Yeah.
dude. Like I've been driving for 18 years now, completely flawless record, never once touched insurance, never gotten in an accident, and like, fuck, man, they're gonna rape me over the coals if they can. Sorry, I'm probably
Yeah.
not allowed to talk like that on this.
No, you're fine. I'll allow it. Yeah, I'm
It's
with
crazy.
you 100%.
But yeah, so I'll keep you posted on if we get hit hard on that shit.
Yeah, that's right. Find out who it is.
I can't
Get
believe
him
that.
back.
All right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's going to do it for episode 18 of See You in Valhalla. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, leave a like and a comment. Even ask questions in the comments. We'll get to them in the next show.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, hopefully you guys are learning shit and applying it.
Heyo. I am. Thanks, Mitch.
West Side.
What was you about? Did you just West Side me?
I did. That's where
Nice.
Valhalla is the West Side.
Oh, that's right. Oh, is it East Side till I die?
Oh, also, sorry, I can't believe we glazed over. Semifinals are happening in the CrossFit Games.
Oh, yeah.
Really exciting. Last week, super exciting.
Edge of your seat.
This week, super. Now, this is like my cup of tea. So, like, it's the only sport I actually follow, but it's so much fun. There's so much drama. It's entertaining. So
don't miss it. Talk about it
Yeah.
next week, huh?
It's all over YouTube. All right.